like 0 itch factor. Oh, it worked so well. Like it exceeded all my expectations and I'm kind of... As you can tell, this is see-through and I think I'm gonna run out of yarn. Isea, labeled as a weird girl because I am a weird girl and it's okay. Hi, my name is Maya and welcome to episode 54 of my knitting podcast where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Today is the 11th of June 2025 and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland where I live with my gecko. And if you watched the latest episode, you saw my gecko. Okay, so today's program, I have one finished object, which is the one I am wearing. I have 2 whips, kind of 3 if you count the swatch as a whip. And then, most importantly, I usually do those podcast episodes every 2 weeks, and it's only been 1 week since the last one, because I was excited to show you my work in progress, and I wanted to show it to you now before I do something that I cannot undo afterwards, because I wanted to show you the construction, whatever. And I figured this episode would probably be shorter, which is not a bad thing in itself, but I figured it could be nice to finally make an update on my life, like my mental health and my professional situation, all of that, because as some of you may know, I am unemployed since the end of last year, and yeah, I've been going through quite a lot of stuff, but I don't like to talk about myself, so I usually don't share about that. But I figured it was about time to talk about it because I know, like, I knit a lot. I'm a fast knitter, but also I have a lot of time because I don't really have a job. I mean, I have a part-time job, but it's not a lot of hours, and I just don't want people to compare themselves to me if they don't really know what's up with my life, because they cannot really like compare the situations. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about my life and do an update on what I'm up to in all kinds of domains at the end of the episode. But first, let's talk about knitting. No, but first, let's talk about this guy. I did buy a mic because the sound on my camera is okay-ish. I have to bump it up a little bit so that you can hear me, and I know when I do that there is some people can hear a humming sound in the background and it's not the best. And also sometimes when the camera is overheating you can hear some stuff turning inside the camera. I don't know what it is, but it's really bothering me, and I just wanted to finally step up and get a mic. I did do some tests beforehand and it should be working. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe if the sound is horrible during this episode, it's because I didn't manage to plug the things correctly. But I hope it should be a little better. I will also do my best to not have my hair touch it all the time. And it's a little bit dangling. But yeah, I hope it should be good. Alright, so for knitting, my finished object is the one I'm wearing, which is my Nuit Blanche Tee, which I had almost finished last time, but whatever. If you watched the latest episode, I'm not going to go again through everything. The test knit has just started yesterday. Yes. So that's cool. Wow. And yeah, so this is my sample that I finished with this new color that I changed because the original ID was orange, but I didn't like it, and like this, it's iconic. What can I say? I really, really love it. I'm so happy. And actually, I haven't wet blocked it yet because I wear it all the time, and I don't have the time to wash it in between the moments I'm wearing it because I love it so much. It's just so perfect. The fit is incredible, and it has lots of positive ease, but not too much. It doesn't have the extra bulk of fabric at the underarms, even though it's a drop shoulder, and yeah, it just fits me so well, even on the back. If I can turn around, yeah, it's just, I'm just so proud and I'm so happy. It took me 6 years, yes, 6 years of knitting to finally make myself the perfectly fitting drop shoulder t-shirt, even though it's supposed to be the easiest thing ever. If you want, it's the easiest if you do the basic drop shoulder that's not gonna fit too well, but a lot of people don't really care about perfect fit, and they will be perfectly fine with a bad fit, and good for you. If you are lucky enough to not care about good fit, stay as you are. Do not change anything, please. But unfortunately, I'm not one of those, and I'm really nitpicky about the fit of my garments, and my body on top of that is absolutely not standard, and it took 6 years for me to finally find the recipe to do something that's perfect for me. So it's this one. And what's great is that it's perfect for me and my weird shape, but it should also be perfect for everyone else, because I did a lot of modifications on this one compared to the pattern that's gonna be for everyone. Very quickly, I did size 3 for the front and size 7 for the back. And yeah, I had to do a few manipulations to make it work. I did explain that in the pattern. And so my sleeves are a little bit different, and I have more ease on the body than suggested in the pattern. But yeah, overall, this fits me as it would fit you if you were straight sized and like with my bust and wearing a size 2 or 3. Yeah. And that's it. I told kind of everything last time. I could maybe tell you about the yarn. So the yarn is Holst Coast in the colorway Petrol, and Spearmint for the contrasting tuck detail here. Gorgeous, I love them. And it is neck to skin soft. It was my first time using it in a garment, and I'm happy to report it is neck to skin soft, which is very, very rare for me. Even more if there is a wool content. Oh my god, even more if there is a wool content. If it's like a linen, silk, or stuff like that, cotton, I'm fine. But yeah, this one is about half lamb's wool and about half cotton. And there was a chance the lamb's wool was going to be itchy, and it's absolutely not. Like 0 itch factor. Oh! And yeah, that's great. However, there is one thing. It's so thin. The yardage of this is like 350 meters per 50 grams, so that's a lace weight, basically. It's so thin that if I wear like a rustic sweater or a rustic yarn, whatever thing on top of that, it's super itchy because it's too thin to protect me against the itchiness of the top layer. I was not expecting that. Yeah, but now I know. It's okay, I don't mind. I really like thin fabrics anyway, and it is too warm for peak summer, which happened to hit us like yesterday. We are heading towards the 30 degrees, and I think this is going to be too warm for that, which is why I'm wearing it now, because it's the last moment I can take advantage of it, and then I'm probably going to be able to block it. Yeah, so it's kind of mid-season. The pattern comes in fingering and DK weight gauges. So this one is the fingering, it's 28 stitches, and the DK is 21 stitches. And it's gonna come out in August. And that's it for what I'm wearing. So now, let's talk about my current work in progress, which I'm super excited about. And again, if you watched the last episode, you know what I'm talking about. It looks like nothing, yes, I know. But believe me, this is amazing. This is like an absolute work of art. You have to trust me. So this is the Patagonia Sweater. It's a half garter, half colorwork design that I'm working on, and it's knit using Knit Picks Bubbly Boucle held double. So this is a sport weight yarn, and I'm holding it double, and it's giving kind of a iron weight gauge, I think, kind of something like that. And this is not the right side. And unusual thing is that it's knit both bottom up and top down. So I'm doing the bottom up part right now, and I'm almost done. And then I'm gonna start the top down section after. But let me do a very quick overview of the construction so that I can explain the interesting part after that. So you cast on here. You cast on a ton of stitches around the whole circumference here, and then you work garter flat until you have decreased all the stitches on the sleeves. Can you even see? It's gonna be difficult to show, but you can maybe tell there are 2 seams here. And basically the body stitch count don't move, so I have a rectangle on each front. And then I'm decreasing the sleeve stitches, and the back is also fixed width. And once I have decreased almost all the sleeve stitches, I am doing something very unusual. But I'll come back to that later. So once you are done with all the shaping around the shoulders and all of that, you pick up the stitches on the bottom here, because I did a provisional cast on here all along. Maybe you can kind of tell my tubing is here hanging, and also here. I did some knots at the end so that I don't lose my stitches. And I'm gonna put back all those stitches back on the needle, and then I'm gonna knit in the round, not flat, in the round, color work, and quickly separate for sleeves, and then work the body and the sleeves separately in the round again. So that's the general idea. And now, let me talk to you about the special thing I'm doing for the shoulders. First, let me explain very quickly the difference between a few types of top-down constructions. So you have raglan constructions, where you do increases on 4 lines, 2 on the front, 2 on the back, and you increase at the same rate on each side of each line. And then you have compound raglan, where you have different increase rates on each side. So typically you increase very fast at the beginning on the body, and you increase very slowly at the beginning on the sleeve, and then you switch. So you increase very slowly on the body and you increase very fast on the sleeve, so that it follows the line of the shoulder. And then when you get to the underarm, you increase on both sides rapidly, so that you don't get too much depth here. So that's a compound raglan. And then you have contiguous shoulder construction, which is kind of a compound raglan, except you don't increase at all on the sleeve at the beginning here, and then you don't increase at all on the body when you are doing the sleeve. Yeah, it's kind of the upper version of the compound raglan. And then you have mixes between drop shoulder and the contiguous shoulder. So the contiguous is you work everything contiguously. And then there is, for example, the ziggurat method, where you will work the back first, so you cast on for the back stitches, and you do shaping for the back neck and the shoulders, all of that if you want to. You work a tiny bit, a little bit like that, and then you put the stitches on hold. And then you pick up from each shoulder, and you do the same on the front, on both sides. And then you start working in a round, because you're going to cast on the stitches on the front neck and pick up the stitches here just at the tip of the shoulders, because you have knit a little bit on the back and a little bit on the front. So you just cast on here at the tip of the shoulders, and you start working in a round, because you have joined the work here. So that's the ziggurat method. I'm gonna put a link down below to a video by Roxanne Richardson, where she explains the difference between everything I just mentioned, but probably in a much better and more accurate way. So definitely go look that video if you're interested in what I'm saying. The ziggurat method is usually done top-down. I mean, usually it is done top-down. That's how I completely forgot the name of the lady who invented that. Yeah, sorry, I don't remember. She's probably gonna be up here. And yeah, she invented it so that it would be worked top-down. I have never seen this kind of construction knitted bottom-up. It probably already exists, but I couldn't find anything about that, so I just decided to try. Maybe it's gonna work. The reason I wanted to do it bottom-up is because I'm working with garter and in bouclé. And bouclé is just a pain to increase into, because you cannot see anything. I mean, you can, but increasing a lot in bouclé is just more painful than it needs to be. And then in what I mentioned is you need to pick up the shoulder stitches here to knit to the front. And again, picking up in boucle, no thanks. So I figured, why not do the zigzag method bottom up? So that's what I did. And guys, it worked so well. Like, it exceeded all my expectations. I didn't think it would be so smooth and so perfect, but everything worked out perfectly. So I knit the whole shaping, the whole decreasing of the sleeves flat. It's super easy to do. Like, you just decrease on the sleeves, that's all. The rest you just knit. And then I have the slip stitch details around the seams here, just to give a little bit more structure, and also just it looks pretty. And once I had like, I think I had like 12 stitches left on the top of the sleeves here. And the zigzag method, usually you have a little bit on the back, a little bit on the front, and then you pick up here, and then you start knitting it around. But since I'm doing reverse, I am coming from the bottom, and I have my stitches here that are just live stitches, and I need to connect them to my front and my back panel somehow. So what I did is I did decreases by working the body stitches, so on this side and on this side, without working the sleeve stitches. So I'm doing decreases, and basically those are my sleeve stitches, those are my body stitches, and I'm kind of like decreasing them over the sleeve stitches. Once you do it, it's super easy to understand, but let me show you here what it looks like. So you can kind of tell I have my sleeve here, and there is kind of this bell shape, because here it's actually flat, because I stopped working my sleeve stitches here, and then I just decreased all the body stitches on top of those stitches, so that it created this bell shape, which is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. And then I started doing the shaping for the front neck and the shoulders and the back neck. All of that with short rows, but I didn't use German short rows or Japanese short rows or all of that, because they are all kind of difficult to do with boucle. And I decided to go with the Steven West method, which is so simple. Basically, you knit to the point where you want to do a short row, you turn your rock, and you just start knitting the other way. You don't even need to pull the stitch or whatever. There is absolutely nothing to do. You just turn and work the other way, that's all. And when you get back to this, it's gonna leave a hole in the stitches. Do I have one still? Yeah, it leaves gaps between the stitches here, for example. I have a gap here, and then I have a gap here. And when you get to a gap again, you knit the stitch before the gap, and then you pick up the purl bump that's below the gap, and you knit it together with the next stitch. And that's all. Super easy. I will again put the video in the description if you want to see that. So yeah, the shaping, can I show you? It's gonna be difficult. So this is one of the front panels, and you can maybe tell there is I finished my short rows, so the middle part here is higher than the rest. So I have a slope here for the neck on this side, and on this side I have a slope for the shoulder, formed by short rows. And then my sleeve stitches, I have almost finished decreasing them down here. I have only 3 left between my markers. So 1, 2, 3. And then I have my back here. I have done the shaping on both, so you can kind of see here, this is the back. I have a slope here for the back shoulder. I have a slope here for the back neck. And this marker is the tip, it's the connection between the shoulder slope and the neck slope. So it's this marker. And then I have the same on the front, you can see. And I'm gonna attach those 2 sets of stitches together with a double bind off. And that's super neat. The usual would be to do a 3 needle bind off to just connect the stitches together. However, when you do that, you need a 3rd needle. And it can be a little bit tight, and it only leaves 1 chain at the top. And my slip stitches around the sleeves are 2. It's a column of 2 slip stitches. And with the double bind off, you get 2 columns of knit stitches. And it's perfect, and it's stretchy enough, but it's also tight enough to have some structural integrity. And it's just absolutely seamless in the sense that it does have a seam, but it's the seam I want to have compared to the rest. And it's just awesome. And the best is that you never have to cut your yarn, not even once. Everything works just perfectly. You do one step after the other and the yarn is always at the right place. You never have to cut it to go back to another spot. It's just absolutely perfect and I'm so proud of it. So yeah, that's how it's going. And basically once I'm gonna be done with the seam of this shoulder here, once I'm gonna have them connected like this, my yoke is gonna be finished. And I will already have the live stitches ready to knit the collar. Don't have to pick up stitches, everything is there. And it's super satisfying. I'm just so proud. So yeah, that's how it's going. I will just try to put it on without doing too much noise on the mic. So this side is already done. Yeah, you can see shoulder seam here and then sleeve. And on this side, I'm going to close the thing like this. And wow, it's gonna be awesome. And then the only thing where I'm gonna have to pick up is for the button band at the top, in the middle here. But it's a button band and I don't really need to pick up a very defined number of stitches, and picking up in this direction is easier because you can just pick up in each garter bump. And it's easier to see the garter bumps than seeing the stitches here. So that's gonna be fine. And then I'm just going to get the stitches on hold back on the needle and then knit in the other direction. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Like, I knew there was a chance it was absolutely not gonna work, like at all, because I have never heard about this construction being reversed and I didn't know if it was at all possible, even with this shoulder thing happening. Yeah, it was a little bit complicated, but it worked so well. What a relief also, because yeah, that was a lot of knitting and I wasn't even sure if it was gonna work or not. But it does, so that's excellent news. Now, I just said this was a lot of knitting, which is true. And I think I'm gonna run out of yarn. If you know how I got this yarn, you know how terrible of a news this is, because this Knit Picks yarn is only available in the US. And I do not live in the US. I am in Switzerland and I cannot get this yarn. And the way I got it is because a friend of mine, Katana, I ordered the yarn to her address and then she shipped it to me. Yeah, first ordering from the US, I don't really like doing that, but now I'm gonna have to do it twice. And a few people have offered to do the same thing as Katana did, so I think I'm gonna take up the offer of someone else so that she doesn't have to be the shipper of my of my yarny orders every time. But I'm gonna have to be quick because I want this guy to be done fairly quickly so that I can do the test call. But if I don't have the yarn, it's gonna be complicated. And yeah, this is my second skein. I have one more. And I have calculated that for the color work on the body, I'm gonna use, I think, a skein and a half. And I don't have a skein and a half. Yes, and I'm gonna run out of all the colors. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. There is no chance I'm not gonna run out. I should just buy extra yarn and then do a hat or something with the leftovers if I have too much. But I just don't want to order again. It's gonna be so complicated. Anyway, yes, that's it, I think. I'm feeling a bit tired because I had to wake up super early this morning, but I will explain why. It was for my job, and yeah, you will see at the end why I'm a little bit tired. Now, my next work in progress is... It's not going to be super interesting. It's my mini mock neck that I'm fixing because it was too tight and too short. And I basically did double the amount, mini mock neck, just a little top, and I had unraveled the whole body, and I had done like this much, and now I have done like this much on top of that. So yeah, I worked on it, and it's stockinetting around, and it's very enjoyable, and I'm very happy to have something this easy next to something this complicated and cumbersome also. So this is super easy to transport. So it's nice, but nothing to say about that. I'm just working it around. Now, my next work in progress is a little bit more interesting. However, I haven't cast it on yet because it's just a swatch. So this is my swatch. Is it the right side? Yes, this is the right side. So this is a test knit I am doing for Rebecca Clow. Rebecca Clow. I'm sorry. The Crea Bear. It's the Gress Tee, but I'm doing the tank version, so the sleeveless. It's the same pattern, except I don't work the sleeves. I'm just gonna do edging on the armhole. And this is my swatch. I was selected to test, I think it was beginning of May, and I'm just starting now. I think it's gonna be released mid-July, so I have 1 month to go, which is more than enough. I know I can make a summer tank top in fingering weight in about 10 days, so we are good to go. This is a lace weight, so it's gonna be, not lace weight, this is lace, so it's gonna go even faster because lace goes fast. So the yarns I'm using are leftovers from another test knit I did last year. It was a striped tee using Isea 302 in the colorways green tea and granite, and it's a lovely kind of purple with this super cute, I would say apple green or something, and I think purple and green are absolutely gorgeous together. It's probably one of my favorite color combos, and I had a skein and a half left, a ball and a half left of each color, and I wanted to use them to do like a netty scarf by Lily Kate, like a two-toned, like half and half color. And I know the object would be absolutely gorgeous, however, I wasn't really sure I would use it, so I was like, I can knit the scarf and then I can gift it to someone if I don't wear it, but I wasn't 100% feeling it. So when Rebecca put out the test call for this guy, there was a fingering weight version and a DK version, but I was interested by the fingering weight, and I had just enough yarn, so I figured I can do a striped Gress. Her samples are single color, but I figured it would be cool to do a striped version. And since I am super late to the party, almost everyone is almost done with the versions, and a few people did stripes. And they did stripes differently, so I'm glad I waited because now I can pull inspiration from the others. And so I have two versions here. The first is when I changed the stripe color in the middle of the lace. So it's a combination of like lace and then garter and then lace, and I changed right in the middle of the lace. And I like it, but it's very stripy. And the difference between the garter and the lace kind of gets lost in the colors, and you cannot really, it looks like it's just lace. I don't really know, I'm not really feeling it, I don't really think it's the best. And then I switched to doing the lace in one color and the garter in one color. I mean, kind of, it's starting from here. And I think I prefer that a lot more. So I'm gonna go with that. And do you see? I decided to be a good swatcher and to buy tags so that I can attach them to my swatches and remember what they are. Because I have a ton of swatches and I don't know what needle size I use. So I'm trying to be a good girl, and let's see how long this lasts in my knitting habits. But yeah, so this is my future cast on. I think this is going to replace the mini mock neck in my easy to put in my bag knitting project. But I'm also not 100% sure because the lace is a lot more involved to knit than just stockinetting around, so I don't know. We'll have to see. But this is absolutely lovely. And there is another issue. As you can tell, this is see-through. And as you may know, I'm a no-bra girly, so I'm gonna have issues if I just wear this as is. So I'm still trying to think of something I could do to make it not see-through. And for now, my idea is to, like when I work the front panel, I could pick up about here and then knit a panel of stockinette and sew it on the sides until like under my boobs and have it cover me. But that's gonna depend on how much yarn I have, and I don't really know if it's gonna look good or not. So yeah, this is still TBD. I could, of course, wear a tank top underneath, but no, I don't want to. Because this is going to be super breathy and nice to wear in the heat of summer, like we are heading to right now. So if I have to wear something underneath, it's kind of killing the whole point of the thing, so I just don't want to have to do that. So I will try to save some yarn so that I can add a stockinette panel between, below, behind it, and see if it works. I'm a bit worried that it's going to be too heavy and pull a bit too much on the lace on the front. I don't know. I will have to see. But that's coming at a later date. I'm gonna have to do the back panel first. So yes, that's it for my knitting. 35 minutes. Okay, so we have about 20 minutes left for me to talk to you about my life. Yeah, again, I don't like talking about myself, so I hope I can get pretty quickly through that because I'm not gonna enjoy it. And I know I shouldn't be forcing myself to do stuff I don't want to do, but as I mentioned at the beginning, I feel it's not that I owe you an explanation, but I know it can be helpful to people to know what's happening in my life, because it's by listening to others talking about this kind of stuff in their podcast that it helped me out. So I figured if maybe by talking about my own journey, mental health journey and all of that, it can help one person, it will be worth it to push myself to do something I don't want to do. So I will also try to stick to my notes so that I don't get lost in the explanation, because there is a lot of stuff to say. So first, let me talk about the easy stuff, which is why am I unemployed to begin with. So I did my studies a long time ago. I'm an architect and I got my master's degree in 2020, so right in the middle of COVID, which was not funny at all, but I did it. I managed to have my degree. And then I started working about 6 months later. It was difficult to find a job in this context. And then I lost my job because of the pandemic, and basically I was hired to work on some projects that got cancelled because of all of that. So I got fired. And then I worked with an independent architect for like 3.5 something years. And so that was until the end of 2024, the end of last year. But I quickly started to, like, basically I had a depression, but I didn't really knew what was happening. I just knew I was super sad, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do anything, and I cut, how do you say that? I cut contact with all my friends, I wasn't seeing anyone, and I was in a depression, basically. And I thought it was because I had a breakup at the time, and then I wasn't recovering from the breakup, even though I know usually it doesn't take that long for me to get better after a breakup, but there it was taking that long, so I figured I don't think it's the breakup. And that's when I finally accepted that the problem was architecture, and I absolutely hated this job, even though I had been working and studying in that field for so many years. So yeah, it was kind of difficult to accept, but once I finally started going into this realization, it was starting to get a little bit easier. I mean, in the sense that I knew what was happening, and knowing the cause of your stress and your sadness is the starting point to get better. It wasn't getting better yet. So yeah, I knew the problem was mainly architecture, and all of the consequences, like the depression and not seeing any of my friends and all of that, were caused by this main issue, problem, the root. And I started thinking a bit more about the way I was coping with that and why I was isolating myself so much. And I also realized there is something else. It's not just the architecture, even though I hate it, really, really. But it wasn't just that. The way I was reacting to things was not usual, and I was feeling more and more different to how, I was just feeling different. Since I was a child, since forever, I have always felt different, but I was watching a podcast by Laura Penrose, and she started talking about this thing that she thinks she's autistic and has ADHD, and I was like, I know about autism and ADHD, like I know the technical aspects and I know the general idea behind them, but I have never really gotten to the core of those things and trying to compare them to my own situation. So I started thinking about it more and more, and I realized, wait, I am autistic and I have ADHD, like for sure. And I was like, okay, great. I know I have those issues, but now do I want to get a diagnosis? And do I want other people to know about it? It was kind of the question, because deep down I have always known, it's just that they didn't really put a name onto that, but I have always known I was different. I have always known I just don't function the same way the others do. And I just learned to cope. I just learned to like mask, I just learned to function and pretend like I'm functioning in front of others. And yeah, I found a system that kind of works, except when I'm in a depression because I hate my job. So I figured, okay, I cannot really do anything about my job right now, because if I quit my job, I'm not gonna have money, and then it's gonna be even worse. So right now, quitting my job is not the option. Maybe another solution could be to go deeper into this autistic and ADHD thing. It was kind of the only thing I could do. So I just tried to find help on this side of the problem. So I tried to get a diagnosis, and yeah, that was a mess. Back then, I was seeing a doctor that didn't care at all about any of his clients, or patients, I should say. Basically, my precedent doctor before him, he retired, and this random guy just bought all of his patients. Literally, he bought the files of everyone, and he became our new doctor. And like, I didn't choose this guy, and he was absolute trash. Like really, he was just there for the money, and he just didn't care at all. So I told him about all these like doubts and thoughts I had about the fact that I'm probably autistic, and I would like to maybe get a diagnosis so that he could maybe help me, or maybe point me in the right direction to do something about it. And he had absolutely no idea what to do. And he said, yeah, I'm gonna find a solution. I know someone that knows better about this subject than I do, so maybe I can ask advice to this person. And like 3 months later, nothing had been done, and I kept calling him every week, and just nothing was happening, and I was feeling so alone. Yeah, I spare you the detail, but basically it took me months before I could get an appointment to get diagnosed. And it was not because it's difficult to get an appointment, it was because my doctor didn't care. Anyway, I got the appointment. I started doing the series of tests and stuff to get diagnosed. It's really difficult to translate. I have no idea how to say all of that in English, I'm sorry. So that was in summer 2023. The first time I saw the guy, he wasn't a doctor, he was training to be a doctor. Like he didn't have his diploma yet. So yeah, I was a bit unsure about that to begin with. The first few appointments went fine, but then the last one, when I had basically he gave me the result of the whole thing. He said some pretty like heavy bullshit, and I was like, what is happening there? He told me stuff like, I don't have the experience of talking to an autistic person when I talk to you, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly my point. I think I'm super good at hiding it, so I'm asking you to see behind the mask if I am autistic, but I'm just hiding it, and like that's not an argument. And also he told me like, yeah, and you have excellent how do you say that, like talking skills, because in French, not in English, but in French I speak very well. And he said basically autistic people don't have such good talking skills. And I was like, bro, of course, I went to university. I learned to talk correctly. It's a learning skill. It's not something that's like inherent to my personality. It's just I learned it. That's not an argument. So yeah, he kept telling nonsense like that, and I was just, the more and more he talked, And the more I was like, this is not making any sense. And yeah, I came back home after that, but you know, it's the usual. When you're in the moment, you can feel something is off, but you cannot really pinpoint what's happening. And when I got home and I started thinking about it, I was like, wow, this is so not okay. And I sent him an email asking, like, what I just told you, like, could you please explain to me why I wouldn't be autistic, but just I'm hiding it very well, maybe. And he basically answered, you're not autistic because you answered to the questionnaire and you didn't get the points to get autistic. And I was like, what? I know the answers of the questionnaire to be autistic or not. I know what I'm supposed to say to have how many points. So this questionnaire is just not, it's not representative of me because I'm completely manipulating the answers and I just don't know who I am anymore. I don't know if I am acting or answering to this question because that's what other people want to see, or that's what people actually see, or that's what I want to do. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so that was absolutely not helpful. So he did tell me I could ask for a second examination. And I was like, yeah, but I'm definitely not going to do that at the same office I did for you. So now the question was to find another place to do the diagnosis and the test. But it's very difficult to find somewhere that has very competent and reliable people. So that took a long time. I spare you the details, but yeah, it took a very long time and a lot of trial and error to finally find a place that was trustworthy, battery change. And I also forgot to say, after the appointment, I did ask to get the written report about the whole test, and it was so full of mistakes, like next level. For example, my mom is Korean, my dad is Swiss and French, and in the report it was written, my dad is Chilean. Like, what? This is literally the other side of the world. Why? And he had also written, like, my brother is autistic. And I was like, no. I told him I think he's autistic, but he has never been diagnosed. And this guy just wrote, oh, his brother is autistic. That's not what I said. And yes, so many mistakes like that, like about my studies. And yeah, just basically completely wrong. So that was not helping to trust his opinion. So yeah, it took a whole year to finally find a place that would be a little bit more trustworthy. And I did do a new test at this new place, and I got the result at the beginning of the year. It was in January 2025, and the results were, yes, I am autistic, and I have ADHD, and I have a high IQ. This one I knew already because I did a test when I was a child, and I already had a high IQ back then, which is why I went to a private school for high IQ kids. Fun fact about me. Yeah, so what the psychologist said in January when she got the results for me was that basically it's not very strong. It's a, how do you say that? Yeah, it's not a strong autism. Sorry, I cannot really translate that correctly. And the fact that I have all three of autism, ADHD, and high IQ is kind of a common mix, and it helped me cope with all the disadvantages of one with the advantages of the other. For example, one thing that I really struggle with is to recognize the emotions on people's faces. One of the tests I had to do was that she showed me pictures of people with different emotions, like fear, joy, surprise, stuff like that. And she showed me the pictures, and I had to say what was the emotion I was seeing. And I did 0 mistakes. So I was like, hey, I'm good at that. But then when she told me the results, she told me I was so slow to finding the answer, because basically I'm not recognizing the emotions with my, how do you say that? I am recognizing the emotions with my intellect, because I learned how fear is supposed to look like. I learned how surprised is supposed to look like, and I don't recognize them instinctively. I recognize them because I have learned them, which makes me very slow to recognize emotions on people's faces. Even though I do 0 mistakes, it's just, yeah, it's not natural for me. And that's something that the high IQ allowed me to compensate, because everything, basically I took everything as a logical problem to solve. And I like problem solving. If you followed a few of my videos, you know that I just love finding solutions to problems by myself. It's just, I love that. And yeah, so everything that autism or ADHD prevented me from doing, like in social aspects or every aspect of life really, I could solve with the high IQ. So I kind of compensated everything, which made me super, super, super good at masking, which is mostly why nobody saw it. And the funny thing is that when I talked about that to my friends, my female friends, they all had the same reaction, which was, of course you are autistic, like I'm not surprised at all. This explains so many things. And yeah, so that felt great. But every time I talked about that to a male, I had the same reaction, which was, everyone is like that, you're not special. Like anyway, so it didn't really change anything in my life in the sense that I knew already. Deep down, I knew it. I just didn't really put a word onto it. But it does help me now because I know it's there, and if I need to stand up for myself, I have a real argument. Better than just, I'm different. I can really say, yeah, I'm autistic, this is how I work, and if you don't like it, just, I don't need you in my life. Basically, so right now what I'm trying to do is to learn to stand up for myself, learn to respect my own limitations without trying to force myself as much as I did before to go to do things or into contexts that are difficult for me. One easy example, for example, I did cat sitting for a friend a few weeks ago, and we were a few different people cat sitting. So first few days it was someone, and then it was me, and then the last few days it was someone else. So basically we were a team, but I didn't know the other people, and I didn't even saw them because they just left the key for me. And when I left the house, I just left the key for the person after me. So I didn't know them. And to thank us for the cat sitting, the couple that lived there and had the cats, they decided to do a meal, a festive meal, like not go to the restaurant, but eat at their place. Invite us all to eat at their place. And I was like, oh my God, I really don't want to, because I don't know these peoples. And as much as I love this couple and I know them and I'm comfortable with them, I don't know their friends, and I don't even want to meet them. I don't care. So I just wrote to my friend and I said, hey, I don't want to. I know you are thankful that I took care of your cat and your apartment, but that's enough for me. You don't need to thank me with a meal where I don't want to go and meet people that I don't want to meet. And she knows about this whole story, and she was like, okay, fine, no problem. And I was like, oh my God, it was so easy. And so many times in the past I have forced myself to go to events or stuff where I didn't really want to go, and it was difficult for me to explain, I don't care about your friends, I don't want to meet them, I just want to be alone. And it's weird to say that, but I have the right to say it still. So yeah, I'm just slowly learning to accept these kind of things and just say them, and not fear I'm gonna be labeled as a weird girl, because I am a weird girl and it's okay. So yeah, let me backtrack to the whole professional thing I was talking about at the beginning. So I had depression and I wasn't feeling like continuing into architecture at all, and yeah, it was getting worse and worse. And I hadn't had the diagnosis at the time yet, and I was trying to get one, but that was also weighing on me because I couldn't find a solution regarding that either. So yeah, nothing was working at all in any aspect. And yeah, we almost broke up with my boyfriend, and yeah, it was terrible in all aspects. And finally, after months and months of searching, I finally found a psychologist, a therapist to listen to me. And I think on the second appointment with her, she was like, you need to go on medical leave. You cannot continue like that. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I thought. But again, my doctor didn't really care at all about me. So I couldn't ask him for a medical leave certificate because he didn't want to give me one. So my therapist gave me the name of her own doctor, and I went to see him, and on the first time I saw him, he was like, I am putting you on medical leave instantly. So I stopped working at that moment, so that was about July last year. So I stopped for about 2 months, and then I went back because I was feeling bad because my boss has always been very nice with me and I had good working conditions, and it wasn't really his fault if I didn't like architecture or anything. He didn't really do anything bad. It was all on my own personal experience of the job. He was fine. So I was feeling bad to leave him alone because it was only the two of us working. And yeah, I knew he was struggling quite a lot without me. So I went back working only half the time, and it was a nightmare because, again, I still didn't have my diagnosis and I was still in depression and I didn't want it to be there, and it started getting very complicated with him because he wasn't happy about the situation. And again, I'm gonna spare you the details, but basically he forgot to do something that would cover the cost of me being on medical leave, which means he was having to pay me even though I wasn't there. So he had to pay me when I was not there at all, and he had to pay for the half time. Like, he had to pay me full time even though I was working only half time because he forgot to do something where the state would pay for my medical leave. That's on him. It has nothing to do with me. He made the mistake. But since he couldn't pay me in this situation, when I got back into full medical leave after a while, like 1 month, because it just wasn't possible, I just couldn't. And he was like, well, I'm gonna have to fire you because I cannot pay for that. And I was like, it's your mistake. Why am I the one paying for your mistake? I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just on medical leave. So yeah, basically I lost my job even though I didn't do anything wrong. Anyway, so that was in December. So my contract ended in December. So since December, I've been on, I don't know how you say that. How do you say chômage in English? I tried looking it up and I think it's like unemployed benefit. So basically I'm getting paid by the state at a smaller fraction of my usual paycheck. But I was already working part-time before. I was working at 80% and now I'm getting a fraction of this 80%, so I'm completely broke, basically. But I did find, I have a friend, he has a company that does a few different things, but one of the things he does is cleaning quality controls. Is that how you say it? So basically I have an iPad and I go to like university campuses or hospitals or stuff like that, and I check that everything is cleaned, and if it's not, I say, that's not clean. I take a picture and then it sends a grade. Yeah, it grades the work of the cleaners, and if the grade is not good enough, they don't get paid, or they have to pay for compensations because they didn't do their job correctly. So I'm just a random girl checking that cleaners do their job correctly, which is, I will admit, a very Swiss job. If you know anything about Switzerland, it's that everything is very, very clean here. And yeah, the simple fact that people get paid to check that other people clean correctly is just wild. But that's Switzerland. It's completely normal here. That's my part-time job. And that's about 20%. So, and it's also happening very early in the morning or late in the evening, because like very early in the morning I have to be here before people get into the building so that I can check what has been cleaned the day before. And like late in the evening, it's because I can check what has been cleaned after people have left. For example, in university campuses and stuff like that. Which means I have to get up early or go to bed late, but it's fine for me because I like to get up early. And that way I don't see many people like in public transit or stuff like that when I go to work, which is great. And it also means that by the time I'm home, if I work in the morning, it's still like 8, 9 o'clock and I still have the whole day in front of me. And one thing I really, really hate is when my day is cut in half because I have like a 1 hour appointment in the middle of the day and the whole day is completely thrown out the window. I just cannot do anything when I have something in the middle like that. So working at the very beginning or at the very end is absolutely perfect for me. So that's great. And also the pay is very good. It's a friend of mine, so he's very nice with me. So yeah, that's how I pay for my bills. And I also, of course, sell my patterns. So those, I get enough to pay for the tech editing, for the photo shoots, And for the like technical stuff like the camera and the mic I just bought, and also my computer is dying, so I just bought a new computer. So I'm making, it's not like I'm not losing money by making the patterns, but I'm definitely not earning money either. So I think it's good for now. It's okay. I'm fine with that. However, the unemployed benefit I am earning right now, I'm only gonna get them for 2 years and a half, kind of. And it's already been 6 months since I'm getting them from January this year, which means I only have like 2 years left. And after that, I'm not gonna get anything, so I need to find another job. I mean, I should find another job before that, but reality is I'm trying to make the whole knitwear design thing work, and I just hope 2 years will be enough to like make this activity grow enough to sustain my life. Like not just pay for itself, but also pay for my life. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now, which is why I'm designing a lot and I'm very present on YouTube and on Instagram and all of that. Basically, I'm trying to, I guess it's a dream of mine to work in something where I'm my own boss and I do things when I want to do them, and it's just good for people like me, like autistic ADHD people. It's just good for what I have, and that would be absolutely perfect if I could make this work. So this is what I'm up to. This is what's happening. This is my life. I don't have a fixed full-time job, but I work part-time, and then I get money from the state because I'm unemployed, but I'm also getting money from you guys, from the patterns, and I would like the proportion to flip so that I get no money from the state and I can live from the patterns I sell and YouTube and all of that. The money I get from YouTube is almost nothing, by the way. So yeah, that's not even counting in the in the total. Yeah, so that's my story. I hope it was interesting, and most importantly, I hope it was helpful to someone. If you are trying to get diagnosed, and if you feel like the diagnosis you're getting is not good, definitely try and get a second one. I think it's worth it. But yeah, even if it takes a lot of time to find trustworthy people, it's best to do that. Definitely. Even if it's very difficult to find, just talk to people, random strangers. The person that suggested this new, not office, but this new therapist that could get the test done for the autistic thing, I had no idea she was going to give me this information. We were just chatting casually, and I just told her, like we were talking about something totally different, and she just asked, "How are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not good at all. I have a depression, and I think I'm autistic." And she said, "Oh, I know this therapist. She could maybe help you." So I contacted this therapist, but she was going on holiday or whatever, and she said, "Oh, I can maybe give you the name of my friend who's also a very good therapist." And I was like, "Okay." So I went to this friend and I talked to her, and she became my therapist, and she's super cute, and she knew about a really, really, really good place where I could do the test. So it took a lot of different steps to get to this point, but yeah, eventually I found it. So I just hope this can maybe help you out, encourage you, and maybe also help you understand me a little more and what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, I guess I should maybe change my bio on Instagram and put the knitwear designer thing, but I don't feel ready yet. One day, maybe. Yeah, not right now. Right now, I am feeling so much better, like life is beautiful. I'm enjoying every day. When I wake up in the morning, I feel super energized and I'm super excited to go on about the day, even if it's working on a pattern or if it's going climbing, it's equal. I'm just so happy. I feel so good. I'm gonna cry. So yeah, it's time for me to end this. I talked for long enough. Thank you for listening to me. And I hope you enjoyed this. I am tired because this morning I had a quality control and I had to wake up at 6 and I fell asleep a bit too late, so yeah, I didn't sleep a lot. So this happens quite often, but since I am feeling so much better and I'm such in a good mood all the time, I don't care if I'm tired because life is beautiful. So yeah, I guess that's great. And with that, thank you so much for listening to me. I hope the sound was good. And I hope to see you again next time, probably next week. I'm trying to do a video every week because I have the time and because I like it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any future content I may put out. You can also follow me on Instagram if you want to see more of me. And thank you for the likes, thank you for your comments. Tell me about your own story if you have something a little bit similar to what I just said. It's always interesting. Okay, I don't really feel the need to connect to people who have the same story as me. I don't care. But there is also at the same time, I like to know, I don't know how to explain, like there is one side of me where I don't really care what others go through, but at the same time, I like to know I'm not alone. There is something to, I think I have to go deeper on that, like why do I have those two very opposite things in me? I don't really understand, but yeah, in the meantime, please tell me about your own journey. If you have something similar, I would love to know. Maybe just because I'm curious. So it's the curious side of me that's against the lone wolf side of me. I don't really know. Maybe you have an input about that. Anyway, thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for likes, for your support. Thank you for being with me through this epic journey of me trying to become a knitwear designer. And yeah, thank you again for watching. I hope to see you next time. Happy knitting. Bye.